work hard in silence. Let me say that again. Work hard in silence. Because noise doesn't build empires. Hype doesn't create greatness. Applause doesn't write your legacy. The real giants of this world, they move in silence. While the rest are screaming for attention, the true winners are building, grinding, bleeding in the dark, so when the light finally shines, the world has no choice but to stand and clap. Everybody wants recognition. Everybody wants likes. Everybody wants validation. But let me ask you something. When you're grinding at 2 a.m., when sweat is dripping, when your body says, quit, and your mind says, one more rep, where's the audience then? Nobody's there. Nobody's clapping. Nobody's patting you on the back. That moment, that lonely, quiet moment, that's where greatness is born. The problem today? Too many people are addicted to noise. They show the hustle, but don't live the hustle. They post the grind, but never grind. They want the world to see every move, every step, every little achievement. But let me tell you, if you need applause to move, you'll never survive in the dark. Silence tests you. Silence sharpens you. Silence makes you dangerous. When you work in silence, something powerful happens. The world doesn't see the pain, but it will see the result. They won't see the sweat, but they'll see the shine. They won't see the struggle, but they'll see the success. And that mystery, that element of surprise, creates impact. Because when you finally show up, you're not just another player. You're a storm they never saw coming. Think about it. Lions don't roar when they're hunting. They stalk quietly, patiently, strategically, and then, boom, it's over. That's how success works. Not by telling everyone your moves, but by letting your results speak so loud that silence becomes your biggest weapon. So, stop wasting energy trying to convince people who don't believe in you. Stop screaming your dreams to ears that are deaf. Stop explaining your vision to people too blind to see it. Just work. Work until you don't need to tell anybody. Work until the results become the announcement. Work until your silence becomes louder than any noise in the room. ChatGPT said, silence builds power because silence is discipline, and discipline is the backbone of every champion. Think about it. Noise is cheap. Anybody can talk, anybody can post, anybody can scream about what they're going to do. But silence is rare. Silence is a signal that you don't need to announce your moves because you're too busy making them real. Noise seeks attention, but silence builds strength. The more you chase attention, the weaker you become because you start living for applause instead of results. But the one who learns to shut his mouth, control his environment, and lock into the grind becomes untouchable. He doesn't need approval. He doesn't need validation. He doesn't need eyes on him to keep moving forward. That's power. Look at everyday life. In school, the loud ones brag about how little they studied. But when results come, it's the quiet student, the one who stayed silent, focused, who sacrificed sleep, that ends up at the top of the class. In the workplace, you see it too. Some people talk in every meeting, desperate to prove they matter, desperate to be noticed, while the quiet one is the observer, taking notes, studying, building a plan, and when the moment comes, they deliver results so strong that the talkers can't compete. Silence builds strength because silence forces you inward. It forces you to grow inside before you show outside. Silence is training in the shadows when no one believes in you. It's waking up at 5 a.m. when nobody's watching, running those miles while the city still sleeps. It's choosing the grind over the spotlight, the effort over the applause. Noise is fragile. It fades quickly. But silence is permanent. Silence is a weapon because people underestimate it. They think you're inactive. They think you're invisible. They think you're not moving. And that's when you strike. And when you strike, it's not with words, it's with results. Ask yourself, when was the last time silence scared you? Because it should. Silence is dangerous. It means someone's plotting, someone's building, someone's preparing. And when they're ready, the world won't even see it coming. Noise makes promises. Silence builds power. Every time you resist the urge to announce your next move, every time you choose to work instead of talk, you're stacking power inside yourself, and sooner or later, that power will break out in a way no noise ever could. Results speak louder because results are undeniable. You can talk all day about what you're going to do. You can make promises, you can post quotes, you can scream your goals to the world. But when the time comes, if you don't deliver, your words evaporate like smoke. Nobody cares about your promises, they care about what you prove. Words don't build trust, results do. You can't argue with evidence. You can't debate with proof. You can't deny achievement when it's right in front of you. That's why results are louder than any speech, louder than any excuse, louder than any promise. Think about it. How many people do you know who say, I'm going to start working out? But months later, they look the same. Nobody respects the promise anymore because there's no proof behind it. But when you see someone consistently grinding, and one day they walk in the room transformed, leaner, stronger, healthier, that result speaks volumes. They didn't have to brag. They didn't have to remind you. The transformation itself did the talking. That's the difference between noise and impact. In your career, your promises don't get you promoted. Results do. A manager doesn't respect you because you say you'll do better. They respect you when the numbers rise, when the project is done, when the performance is undeniable. Friends don't respect someone who's always talking about dreams, but never moving. Respect comes when the dream turns into reality, when you show up with results nobody can ignore. People doubt words, but they can't doubt proof. And the truth is, results don't just speak to others, they speak to you. When you see your own results, you build confidence that can't be faked. Every achievement, no matter how small, is a receipt for your effort. That receipt reminds you this is real. This is working. I'm not just talking, I'm producing. And that confidence becomes fuel. Results are the ultimate announcement. You don't have to convince people you're capable when your work already proves it. You don't have to argue when your proof shuts down every debate. You don't have to scream for respect when results force people to respect you, whether they want to or not. That's why results speak louder, because results are the voice of truth in a world drowning in empty promises. Discipline in the dark is the real test of character, because that's where your true self shows up. When nobody is watching, when there's no applause, no likes, no validation, that's when you decide who you really are. The world doesn't see the hours you wake up early, the sweat dripping down your face, the sacrifices nobody acknowledges. But those moments define you far more than any public recognition ever could. Discipline in the dark is the difference between people who dream and people who achieve, between talkers and doers, between ordinary and extraordinary. Think about everyday life. The person who passes every test may have studied alone at night while the room was silent. The athlete who breaks records spent hours training before the sun came up, while nobody was cheering, while nobody knew his name. The entrepreneur who built an empire didn't start by posting motivational quotes on social media. They started by sitting alone, grinding, making phone calls, learning in silence. Those dark moments, the ones without anyone watching, are where discipline is forged, and discipline is what separates winners from the rest. When you act with discipline in private, you develop a power nobody else can touch. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can take it away. You start trusting yourself, knowing that even when the world doesn't notice, you're still moving forward, still getting stronger, still building your life. That kind of self-reliance, that kind of consistency is unstoppable because it's not dependent on external approval. People will often only admire results. But the truth is, the hard work done in silence, the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices, the refusal to quit is the foundation of that result. Discipline in the dark also teaches patience. It teaches that progress isn't instant, that real growth is invisible at first. It's easy to give up when nobody is cheering for you. But the ones who push through are the ones who eventually shine brighter than anyone else. That dark, lonely effort builds strength, builds resilience, builds a mindset that cannot be shaken. Every small choice you make in private counts. Choosing to train when your body is tired, choosing to study when your friends are out, choosing to keep grinding when no one expects it. These moments add up. They become habits. They become character. They become unstoppable force. Discipline in the dark isn't just preparation. It's the proof that you are willing to outwork everyone, outlast everyone, and outgrow everyone, no matter who is watching. Surprise the world because the loudest in the room rarely leave a legacy. People are obsessed with showing off, posting every move, announcing every plan, begging for attention, and in doing so, they make themselves predictable. But when you work in silence, when you grind without broadcasting, when you let the results do the talking, that's when you shock the world. That's when jaws drop, when respect is earned, and when influence becomes undeniable. Stop broadcasting your moves. Let your actions create the noise. Think about it in everyday life. The coworker who brags about climbing the ladder but never delivers is forgotten. The student who posts every late night study session on social media but never improves is ignored. But the quiet one, the one who shows up, learns, practices, and delivers, suddenly emerges with results that leave everyone stunned. That is the power of surprise. People are never ready for excellence because it doesn't announce itself. Excellence is subtle. Excellence is hidden. Excellence comes out of nowhere and leaves a mark nobody can erase. Surprising the world also gives you leverage. When nobody knows your full potential, nobody can prepare to challenge it. When you reveal your work only after mastery, it carries weight, it hits harder, it inspires more. People will underestimate you, doubt you, laugh at you. But when your results arrive, it's like a storm they didn't see coming. The world loves a comeback, a transformation, a story that catches everyone off guard. That's why silence and surprise are more powerful than noise and promises combined. Look at sports, look at business, look at life. The quiet ones are always the ones who dominate. The boxer who trains in a garage nobody visits comes out and knocks out champions. The entrepreneur who builds quietly ends up with an empire that shocks the competition. Even in your personal life, the person who keeps improving without announcing it eventually reaches a level that makes everyone else realize how far behind they are. Surprise is the ultimate strategy because it forces respect without begging for it. When you stop broadcasting moves, you stop living for validation and start living for results. You stop competing with noise and start competing with excellence. Every silent hour, every hidden effort, every unseen sacrifice adds up to a moment of impact so powerful that nobody can ignore it. People will remember the results long after they forget the noise. because the surprise is unforgettable, and success that comes out of nowhere is the kind of power that changes the game entirely. Silence equals focus because noise is the enemy of progress. Every notification, every comment, every distraction pulls you away from what really matters. When you let the world dictate your attention, when you respond to every sound, every message, every opinion, you lose yourself. But silence, real silence, creates space for concentration, space for thought, space for growth. It locks you in on your mission and keeps you moving forward while the rest are lost in chaos. Noise is shallow, it's temporary, it's everywhere. But focus is rare, and focus is power. Think about everyday life. How many people start a day with a million distractions? They scroll, they react, they argue, they chase everything but their own goals. By the time they sit down to work, their energy is drained, their mind is scattered, their results are minimal. But the person who embraces silence, the one who turns off the notifications, the one who blocks out the chatter, the one who shuts the world out, suddenly becomes unstoppable. Every action becomes deliberate, every decision sharp, every effort multiplied, because nothing is stealing attention away from the mission. Silence is not emptiness, it's armor. It shields you from distractions that kill potential. Focus in silence also teaches patience. It allows you to think, plan, and act without panic or pressure from external noise. It forces clarity. It separates what's important from what's trivial. The more noise there is, the more your mind spreads thin, the more silence you embrace, the more your energy converges on results. That's why great achievers always have a quiet intensity. They're not reacting to the world, they're creating it. In sports, in business, in life, focus beats talent when talent is distracted. The runner who blocks out the crowd, the entrepreneur who ignores critics, the student who studies while everyone else parties. These are the ones who move faster, stronger, further. Silence is the secret weapon that keeps your eyes on the prize while the world is busy chasing applause and approval. Every time you choose silence over noise, every time you choose focus over distraction, you are investing in your future. You are telling yourself that nothing outside your mission matters more than the mission itself. You're building mental strength, emotional control, and unstoppable momentum. Noise will always exist, but the one who masters silence masters life, because silence doesn't just quiet the world, it sharpens the mind, strengthens the will, and locks you in on the path that leads to extraordinary results. So now, after everything we've said, here's the reality you need to face. Nobody owes you anything. The world doesn't care about your dreams, your plans, your promises. If you want results, you have to earn them, silently, relentlessly, without excuses. The people who make noise all day are weak. The people who work in silence are unstoppable. And the difference between the two isn't luck. It's discipline. It's sacrifice. It's refusing to quit when the world isn't watching, refusing to settle when everyone else is satisfied, refusing to explain yourself to those who don't understand your vision. Remember, this action beats intention. Every second you spend talking about what you're going to do is a second wasted. The one who wins is the one who shows up, the one who grinds, the one who delivers. The world respects results, not promises. You have to understand that greatness doesn't negotiate, it doesn't announce itself, it doesn't wait for permission. You create it, you fight for it, you bleed for it in silence. The moment you embrace that truth, you stop living for applause and start living for impact. Look around you. The loudest people aren't the strongest. The flashiest people aren't the most powerful. The ones who claim the most aren't the ones who truly achieve. The ones who dominate, the ones who leave a legacy, the ones people can't ignore. Those people are quiet, focused, disciplined, and strategic. They understand that patience, silence, and hard work are the trinity of unstoppable success. They understand that every unseen hour, every unacknowledged effort, every private battle builds a force so strong that the world eventually bends to it. So I'm telling you now, stop proving yourself to people who don't matter. Stop broadcasting every move. Stop waiting for applause. Stop whining about recognition. Go work, go grind, go build in silence. Let your results speak so loud that excuses, doubts, and critics vanish in comparison. Be the storm that arrives without warning. Be the force that no one can predict, but everyone respects. Be relentless when the world expects you to rest. Be disciplined when no one else is disciplined. Be focused when the world is distracted. Because at the end of the day, the legacy you leave is written by the work you do when nobody is watching, by the battles you fight in the dark, by the silence you embrace while the world is busy shouting. Work hard in silence. Grind without explanation. Deliver results without fanfare. Shock the world with the magnitude of what you accomplish. And always remember, success doesn't care about your words. It only honors your work, your discipline, and your ability to rise above noise and distraction. That is power. That is greatness. That is unstoppable.